for Athens County are out. In a rematch of 2019's Athens mayoral race, incumbent Democrat Steve Patterson beat Damon Crane again. In Nelsonville, Rita Wynn, Nancy Sonic, and Justin Booth win positions as members of the city council. Samantha Skiorski earned a position as mayor of the village of Gloucester, and voters in Jacksonville Village and Trimble Village approved gas aggregation. Staying close by, the Athens City School District is now able to build a new high school after voters approved a levy. School Superintendent Thomas Gibbs says this project is an investment in the future of education for the children in the district. The project is estimated to cost about $58 million, of which $24 million will be collected from increased property taxes for Athens residents. Unfortunately for the Alexander Local School District, their first attempt to pass a renewal levy was voted down. The levy failed by 300 votes, and the money generated from the tax levy provides roughly 11% of the district's yearly budget. Alexander Superintendent Will Hampton says the district needs to prepare for a future without the additional income. The district has 2 more attempts to pass the levy before it expires at the end of next year. It was an off-year election, but the voters across the country who cast ballots Tuesday sent big messages. While Democrats marked key victories in several races and ballot measures, a series of new polls reveal a rocky road ahead for President Joe Biden as he seeks to stay in the White House. Voters here in Ohio enshrined the right to an abortion in Ohio's Constitution, Ohio being the latest state to do so in the wake of the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. And in Virginia, Democrats swept the state legislature in a rebuked Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who sought to pursue what he called, quote, reasonable abortion restrictions if the GOP took control of both chambers. Abortion access providing a driving force for voters, which could be a boon to Democratic prospects in 2024, even as Republicans frame the results as wins for states' rights. But despite party victories, polling of registered voters shows the sour mood in the country is posing trouble for President Joe Biden's re-election changes. Coming up short in hypothetical matchups against former President Donald Trump and other GOP candidates. Deep Red Kentucky's newly re-elected Democratic Governor Andy Beshear says the key to victory is focusing on the things that impact people's daily lives.
Good evening. I hope everyone is having a great week this week. If you went out to vote, you may have noticed the beautiful weather we've been having, and we're really seeing that translated today as well. Right now we're looking at temperatures of 71 degrees with some absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous clear skies outside. A little bit of a breeze, just enough to keep a lot of that heat off and a lot of that sunshine from feeling too warm, and a little bit of humidity outside, so it's not quite as dry as it was. It's definitely feeling like it was in late August, not really those November temperatures. Now looking across the state, we're seeing very similar conditions across Cincinnati, very warm over there, about 79 degrees, but a bit to the north of us, we're seeing 69, 63 degree temperatures going on, and that's due to the sun setting a little bit earlier. So we're starting to see those temperatures drop since we don't have a lot of that warming going on anymore. But part of the reason we're seeing such warm conditions is due to this high pressure that's sitting to the south near Florida. And what's going on is this high pressure is spinning clockwise in the northern hemisphere, and it's pulling up a lot of this warm air from the Gulf. So this air is moving from the south up to the north, and that's really what's pushing in this warm front as well. So we're going to see these temperatures start to steady out a little bit, and that high pressure is also keeping a lot of the clouds away, allowing a lot of sunshine to come in and really warm everything up. So if you've been outside at all, hopefully you've gotten the chance to enjoy this beautiful weather, because things are going to be changing this weekend as we see a cold front begin to develop. So stay tuned, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Now, one of my favorite things to look at are the clouds, and it's really cool to see how these clouds kind of move over that high pressure system and that warm front. You can really see the arcing as it starts to move from the west towards the east, just like that system is moving as well. And that high pressure is really keeping everything clear and keeping those clouds just to the north of us. So we are in for sunny skies, but tonight things will start to change. Once again, that cold front is beginning to move in, and we'll see that overnight low of 58. So things won't really cool down just yet, but as that cold air makes its way into this warmer area, we're going to start to see some clouds and a potential for 40% chance of showers starting around midnight. But then tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to see even more showers on your morning commute to work as you start to get up. So be sure to stay tuned for my full weather, because we're really going to dive into what times exactly you can be expecting that rainfall to happen. Tomorrow we'll see another high of 67 degrees, so still another warm day, and the 50% chance of showers. Will be a cloudy day, so not as much sunshine, unfortunately, but it'll still be pretty warm outside. An overnight low of 41, so about almost 20 degrees of a difference there from our current overnight conditions to tomorrow's overnight conditions. So definitely a big shift coming up. That's where we're seeing that cold front starting to shift in. So be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast because we have a lot to discuss as far as weather goes this week. Back over to you, Haley.
Thanks, Emily. Sewer rates in the city of Athens will be going up after City Council approves hikes. Council voted 6-1 to annually increase rates by 3% until 2040. For residential buildings, rates are increasing from $5.89 to $6. For commercial buildings, rates will increase from $6.66 to $6.79. And for industrial building rates, they're increasing from $7.34 to $7.49. Councilmember Alan Swank was the only no vote for the ordinance. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear won re-election to a second term Tuesday, notching another significant statewide victory in an increasingly red state that could serve as a model for other Democrats on how to thrive politically heading into next year's defining presidential election. Beshear rode his stewardship over record economic growth and his handling of multiple disasters, from tornadoes and floods to the COVID-19 pandemic to victory over Daniel Cameron, the state's attorney general, and a protege of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Cameron was seeking to become Kentucky's first black governor, while Beshear and Governor Jacqueline Coleman earned new 4-year terms as a ticket. Their win did nothing to change Kentucky's identity as a solidly red state or prevent a Republican sweep of all other statewide constitutional offices on Tuesday's ballot. Still ahead, the clock is ticking to avoid a government shutdown. And U.S. public health officials warn about a rise in a dangerous infection in babies.
Things are going to start to feel like fall coming up this weekend. Stay tuned to Newswatch to find out how this will impact you.
It's a war.
China is beating the United States in tech-heavy industries.
Over technology.
Everybody in the world is talking about 5G.
From healthcare, education, manufacturing, China got the message of what could 5G do.
But can they do it alone?
China is at least 5 to 15 years behind the U.S. in semiconductor technologies.
Inside China's tech boom on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
I got a call from our imam. He said our mosque is on fire.
We don't want any kind of a witch hunt.
The fact that this was a mosque raised many red flags.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a hate crime.
Victoria is at a crossroad.
You can no longer sit by and say, this isn't my community, because it is.
Everybody says we're all in it together, but I don't think that's the case.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Did you know that you can donate property to WOUB Public Media? I'm WOUB Community Engagement and Membership Manager, Sherry Russo. Donating property is a great way to support WOUB, and you may even claim a significant tax deduction. Properties in any location, condition, and format are eligible for donation to WOUB. Back taxes, mortgage balances, and deferred maintenance do not prohibit your ability to donate. Our program covers all loans, liens, commissions, and closing costs, so long as there is equity in the property. If you have a land, residential, or commercial real estate asset that's unused or costing you money, consider giving back to the station you love by donating it to WOUB.
And the process is easy. Go to WOUB.org and click the Support tab to learn about property donations, along with many other ways to support WOUB.
Congress has only 9 days left to prevent a potential government shutdown, and so far it seems Washington, D.C. is once again facing a possible financial collapse. Speaker Mike Johnson and GOP lawmakers in the House went through a series of ideas yesterday, including a spending bill through January 19th. But some Republicans in the House are against any sort of short-term spending bill, so Johnson would need Democratic support. The Speaker has until November 17th to get a spending bill passed through Congress, Senate, and the White House. According to professional services firm Ernst & Young, the U.S. would have lost $6 billion per week had Congress not prevented a government shutdown earlier this year. We're now joined by lead forecaster Emily Dietz. Emily, it was like 70 degrees outside today. When are we going to start seeing some colder temperatures going to Thanksgiving in November?
Right, yeah, I'm definitely not enjoying these 70-degree conditions, you know, because we went really hot and then we went really cold, and a little bit of snow on the 1st of November. I don't know if you saw that at all,
I did.
Especially in other parts of Ohio, and I was excited. You know, Christmas was starting to thaw, all the holiday season. I was like, yes, snow, cold weather, and then boom, the 70 degrees. But I'm really looking forward to this weekend because we're going to start seeing some 50 degrees, and that's my favorite Thanksgiving weather, is when all the leaves are on the ground, so you know they're all crunchy and everything. And I don't know about you, what kind of conditions you like outside for Thanksgiving or any holidays you celebrate coming up.
I honestly thought today was pretty perfect. Maybe a little bit cooler, of course, but I thought today was really nice because the sun was hitting all the leaves and it was super pretty, especially out there on College Green. It was fantastic. But I like the cooler temperatures too, I won't lie to you.
For sure, yeah, and if we take a look outside, we can really see what those temperatures are looking like right now. We've got about 71 degrees outside, so definitely on the warmer side of things, especially for it being as late in the day as it is, with some gorgeous clear skies, a little bit of a breeze coming in just to cool everything off ever so slightly, and things are starting to gear up in the humidity department. We're about 49%, excuse me, as far as that goes. So definitely not as dry as it was a couple days ago, but overall today we reached a high of about 74 degrees. So definitely feeling like August, definitely warm outside. I didn't really enjoy it, especially now that we're in November, but we're going to see an overnight low of 56. So another warm night ahead of us. And once again, becoming sunny. That was our conditions throughout the day today, but now that sun is starting to set. Now across the country, we've seen a lot of warm weather, and now it's starting to push towards us. And what's going on is we're seeing a lot of this warmth coming up from the south. And if we take a look out to the west near the Great Plains area, we see a pretty decent line as far as that warm air and where that cool air is. And what's going on is that's right along this warm front and that cold front boundary. So we have this high pressure system that's sitting in the south near Florida. And when you have high pressure in the northern hemisphere, all the winds in the atmosphere spin clockwise. So this is making a big clockwise rotation going on in the atmosphere. And what's going on is that's pulling up a lot of warm air that's currently sitting in the Gulf. And that's pushing up. So we're seeing winds from the south that are pushing all this warm air up, and that's producing this warm front that we're seeing as well. Now over towards the west, we're seeing a cold front, and what's going on with this side is we actually have winds coming down from Canada, the Midwest area, and that's pulling in much cooler air, and that's why we see this boundary of cold air, because all this air behind it is similar as far as density goes, water moisture, as well as temperature. So we're definitely going to see a difference once that cold front passes. But as far as tonight goes, it's still going to be warm. That warm front will have passed. Is going to pass, and that cold front won't be passing until tomorrow. So we're going to see that overnight low of 58 degrees with a 40% chance of showers. So where is that rain coming from? Well, when we have this warm front passed, once again, we have all of this air coming in from the south. That's also got a lot of moisture in it as well. So when you have this cold front coming in behind it, that pushes up against this warm air, causing these clouds to form and a lot of this rain to happen. So we're going to see this rain coming in late tonight around midnight. That's when we're going to see a lot of clouds start to take over. And then when you're getting ready for work in the morning between 5 and 7 a.m., that's when we're going to see the bulk of this rain start to pass right on through. But we're not expecting any heavy rain at all going forward, just some brief showers, just enough to make everything wet and just a little chilly in the morning. But tomorrow we'll see another high of 67 as that cold front continues to start pushing toward us and continues to pass. And that 50% chance of showers, that's where that's coming from, is this early morning. We're not expecting any in the afternoon or in the evening times, but we will see an overnight low of 41. So it will be a pretty chilly night tomorrow night. And as that's going to be when that cold front passes, is during the day, leaving us with some cloudy weather. And tomorrow night, unfortunately, we won't be seeing any of the snow that's really bombarding Canada right now. We'll just be sticking with some clouds. But taking a look out to the west, we have some high pressure beginning to develop, and that's going to be pushing over towards us, leaving us with some really nice skies going on into this weekend. So even though it will be a little bit chillier since we have that cold front passing, rain possible on Friday, that's just mostly going to be cloud coverage. That's going to drop to about 55 degrees for our high, and our overnight conditions are going to drop to the 30s. So we may even possibly be seeing some frost advisories, even frost warnings, since we had that rain coming in on Thursday. Saturday, however, we are in for a beautiful weekend. You are definitely going to need your jacket though, because our high is going to be 54 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday, and we have that amazing high pressure coming in, and it's really building up. So we're going to see a lot of clearing going on next week. So even though we'll be on the chillier side of things, especially in our overnight, looking at Monday, our overnight low is going to be 29 degrees. So we're going to be back down in the 20s, but at least during the day we'll have some sunshine. So it'll be nice to get out and enjoy a walk before things become the cloudy, gloomy, wintry kind of mix that we're used to. So we are in for a good week, and I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday. Back over to you, Haley.
Thanks, Emily. Former President Donald Trump's daughter is taking the stand in the civil case against his company before the New York Attorney General's office rests its case. Ivanka Trump told the court banks were happy to loan the money to the Trump organization. She recounted one instance when the co-chair of Deutsche Bank encouraged the company to do more business with the bank. It reiterates the defense's strategy of proving banks the company borrowed money from were repaid, and there were no victims. The judge in the case issued a summary judgment before the trial even started that Trump and his co-defendants committed fraud by overvaluing company assets. The finer points now are determining how much they will have to pay and if they will be banned from doing business in New York. A half-century of giant pandas in our nation's capital comes to an end. 3 beloved bears, the latest bunch to call the Smithsonian's National Zoo home over the last 5 decades, are now on a plane back to China. The popular animals were part of a long-time program between the two world superpowers, often referred to as panda diplomacy. With real-world diplomatic tensions brewing over a number of global issues, the recall of the pandas has become symbolic of that shaky relationship. In recent weeks, visitors have been flocking to D.C. to say goodbye. The bear trio was carefully transported to a waiting FedEx plane for a 19-hour flight back to China this morning. Now, only 4 Chinese pandas remain in the U.S. at the Atlanta Zoo, with their contract expiring next year and no word from China on any extension yet. Warming oceans are considered the greatest threat to the world's coral reefs, but parts of Australia's Great Barrier Reef are showing some resiliency, with coral now starting to regenerate. Scientists are welcoming the news as they lobby the Australian government to do more to protect this natural wonder. Coral polypus release millions of sperm and egg bundles into the water all at once. When 2 bundles from the same species collide, new life is born. While some parts of the reef remain healthy, other parts are bleaching and dying. The speed at which we transition to green energy and the degree to which our planet warms will determine how much of the Great Barrier Reef can be saved.
And coming up in sports, Ohio football takes down the Bulls, and Ohio men's basketball is set for a game at 7. That story's still ahead. And for the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Saturday at 10 on WOUB.
Hidden deep beneath the Cumberland Mountains in Grundy County, Tennessee, lies one of the world's most magical musical adventures, the Cavern Sessions. 3 million years in the making, Pure Acoustics offer music from the heart of the American experience, center stage and deep inside the mountain. This time welcoming Iron and Wine. It's deep down musical diversity at the Cavern Sessions.
Friday at 11 on WOUB.
There is a battle playing out in the southeastern corner of Utah. It's a fight over whose voice gets heard, who decides how this region, now known as Bears Ears, is managed, protected, and preserved.
These resources are too valuable, they're irreplaceable, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
We need to put things in place immediately to prevent our language from vanishing.
What I'm going to do now is to continue to carry the voice of my ancestor.
think about this space as an archive, right?
Language is who I am.
We will survive as long as we teach language, as long as we keep it alive.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back. I'm Sully Beach of Sports. Ohio bounced back from its loss in the Battle of the Bricks with a 20-10 victory on the road last night against Buffalo. It was a slow start for the Bobcats. They had only 41 yards on offense on the first 14 plays in the first half. As for Ohio's defense, it limited Buffalo to just a field goal in the opening half. Ohio's offense came alive out of the locker room. Saban Gura had both of the scores for Ohio as it finished with 115 yards on the ground. The Bulls only scored once in the second half, and from that point on, it was all Bobcats. All of Ohio's 20 points came in the second half en route to its victory. Ohio returns to Peden Stadium for one final time this season on November 15th against Central Michigan. And some news from the Ohio wrestling team, Garrett Thompson was named MAC Wrestler of the Week in the West Division yesterday. Thompson had quite a weekend as he was the individual champion for the 165-pound weight class during the Southeast Open on Saturday. Thompson started off his Saturday knocking off North Carolina's Marcus Morbido and Life University's Keyshawn Stevens in the first rounds. Then came the big match against Oregon State's Kakena Forret, who was 6-0 to begin the year. Thompson would go on to give Fort his first loss of the season, becoming the individual champion. Along with Thompson's recognition, he is also now ranked 20th in the Open Mat's 165-pound ranking. And Ohio men's basketball returns to the Convo tonight to kick off a brand new campaign against Troy. The Bobcats have 11 returning players this year and also added 3 transfers in the offseason. Among the returning players, Jalen Hunter, Elmore James, and A.J. Brown, all who played key roles last season. Hunter is named to the preseason All-MAC first team along with A.J. Brown, who earned a spot at the second team. And they'll get their first look of the regular season action against the Trojans. Ohio head coach Jeff Bowles talks about what he expects to see out of Troy. Quote, "They're very well coached. I've known their coach for a while. We got a chance a couple weeks ago in Daytona to see them play live, and they played extremely hard. I think they brought in around 9 new players this year, so they have a new team, but their 2 guards coming back are really good, and they're long and athletic, so they'll pose for some challenges for just the way they play," end quote. And tip-off for that is set in a few minutes at 7, so be sure to catch that game. And Haley, I heard that the first 125 people who get into that game get a free t-shirt, so I might have to head over there after this. I don't know if I can get over there in time, but I might have to.
I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to make it. Unfortunately, I highly doubt it. We ended
I think
7.
I might be able to. I don't know.
T-shirt or no T-shirt, I'm going to be there after this. I will be
Really?
at the Convo tonight. Absolutely.
Okay. Maybe I could make it then. If you can make it, I bet I can make it.
I think we could both go.
We could both go.
We'll race.
We'll race over there. Yeah.
Well, what are you expecting from the game tonight, Solly?
I'm expecting some good play for the Bobcats because last game they won against Otterbein University, so I feel like they're going to have some of that confidence from that. And then again, with the Convo, with the home fans here, you know they're crazy, so they're going to be able to give the Bobcats some energy for this.
Absolutely,
I think so.
Solly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you there.
Yeah, see you too there, yeah.
But after the break, one deer takes a big leap, so that story is going to be later on. And before that, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Our spies' adventures aren't over. This latest mission sheds light on an undersea world built on relationships. There is teamwork, companionship, and communication. Perhaps we have more in common with these sea creatures than we think.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, Vintage Dallas Hour 1. Grab a drink.
They called it Etruscan Majolica. It's called the shell and seaweed pattern.
Choose a seat.
I didn't know if it was ugly or beautiful, but I thought it was the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen.
And take a swing at how the values of our Texas finds have fared over the last 15 years.
If you could actually pull some of the original early photos out, you could triple the value.
Oh, really?
Easily.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
This is making me emotional.
On Finding Your Roots,
Mario Lopez.
Man, I'm just blessed to be born when I was.
And Melissa Villaseñor.
I'm Basque, baby. I want to shout it from the mountaintops.
Ancestors who crossed the border.
This is not what we think of Mexican immigration. It's kind of cool.
Leaving family history behind.
You ever think of yourself as an indigenous woman?
I love that.
Finding your roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Sometimes in life you have those moments in all its glory.
With singing, dancing, magicians. Yeah!
Just what I wanted for Christmas. We have much to be grateful for.
The platypus have been granted this window into their world.
Can you tell me the truth?
What do you remember?
Finally tonight, Rudolph might not be the only flying deer, and video shows one deer leaping over 2 cars and landing in a pickup truck in New Jersey, which is absolutely a very unlikely story. 13-year-old Troy Westcott was outside his Mays Landing, New Jersey home shooting hoops with his dog Parker when he heard rustling in the leaves, and the dog spotted the deer first, but just as spectacular as the leap was this coincidence. The 2007 Chevy Silverado pickup was for sale, and at the exact same moment, the prospective buyer pulled up to clinch the deal. The deer slammed into the pickup truck, but the buyer wasted no time in asking. The dent left by the young buck saved the buyer $1,000 off the asking price, and the seller started cracking jokes. As the video went viral, commenters had 2 questions. Is the deer okay? He seemed to be okay, spotted on a neighbor's trail camera, but it took a flying deer to make a pickup less dear by $1,000.
I mean, that all seems real wild to me. I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation, but I don't know what you guys think about that. But that's a lot right there, so I don't know.
I'm just impressed it got on camera. I mean, that's one of those things, like, you tell someone about it and you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it on camera, and that's crazy. I don't think I'd ever seen anything like that. You know, most of the time you see a deer and it runs away, but yeah.
Just you never know what you're gonna get, I guess. You never know.
Well, hopefully the deer like the weather tonight. We're looking at some pretty warm weather outside. A lot of that warm air is coming in from the south, but we actually have some cooler air. So taking a look near the Midwest area, we see a lot of cool air being pulled down from Canada, and that's really going to cool us off going on into this weekend. But as far as tonight goes, it's still going to be a pretty warm night. We're expecting an overnight low of 58 degrees with a 40% chance of showers. Now, fortunately for you, if you're going to be out late for any reason tonight, you won't really need your jacket because those clouds won't start rolling in until about 11 p.m. midnight. So you should be in the clear for that 40% chance of showers. Tomorrow, however, we are expecting some rain during your morning commute to work. A 50% chance of showers starting from 5 a.m. till about 7 a.m. with a high of 67 degrees. So definitely a warmer day, but things will cool down in the evening as that cold front passes. But we are seeing some high pressure start to roll in on Friday, so that'll clear things up nicely. So even though that cold front passes, giving us some cooler weather, getting ready for this weekend, at least that high pressure will be there to push those clouds out of the way, setting us up really nicely for a sunny weekend and a week ahead of us. So hope you all have a great rest of your week.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Emily Dietz and Sullivan Beach, I'm Haley Hollinger. Make sure you stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on our social media. Have a great night.
Support for PBS NewsHour is proudly provided by Luke S. Frazier.